Otibere. Mhm. Good day, everyone. All praises and adoration belongs to Almighty God, who of whatever He wills, Lord of incomparable magnanimity, power, and majesty. Lord that has spared you and I from last week that we had the last lecture till today that we are having the recurrence of this program. And today in the studio is Abdullahi Adebayo Abdurrauf, who is bringing the recurrence of the program to your hearing and to your listening. And on this program, which is known as Know Your Rights Under the Law, this program is being brought to you with the initiative of Ajisebi Oyo Radio TV in conjunction with Abdullahi Legal Academy. Abdullahi Legal Academy is an initiative that caters for dissemination of the knowledge of law, especially the right that each and individual has under that law, and at the same time organizing result-driving law tutorials for law students across various faculties of law in Nigeria. We have been doing so many things for us to be able to achieve these 2 years of ours. This is one of our programs. This is our radio legal awareness program, and this is what we have been doing for the past months. Uh, on this program, last week we started a new topic, and under the topic we have subtopics. The subtopic that we shall be discussing here today is that of how does the law protect the right of a landlord? How does the law protect the right of a landlord? You know, when we are talking about landlord and tenant in Nigeria, it's one of those phenomena that we cannot just undermine. Every time there will be landlord and every time there will be tenant, and it does not even mean that maybe you are a landlord in your own house or in your own area or in your own state, that you can't be a tenant in another state. No, there are many circumstances that lead to people being a landlord or a tenant at any particular moment in time. Let's say, for instance, now a student that relocate from a state to another, you will have to go and hire a house, to go and rent a house that will be living in the state where which he is studying. At a particular moment, by implication, it becomes a tenant. And a person who is a worker, who is transferred from a previous working area to another working area, he has to be living somewhere, so he will have to go and hire a house. He will have to go and rent an apartment where he will be living in. And what are those rights that the landlord in that particular situation has? And what are those rights that the tenant in that particular situation also has? So today we shall be discussing only the rights that are accrued to a landlord in this kind of situation. The first of those things that I've prepared to explain here today, because I can't explain everything, to be honest, I can't explain everything, but I just prepare some of those things that are peculiar and that are accrued to a landlord at any situation, at any moment in time. The first of them is that the provision of Section 43 and Section 44 of the 1990 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that says that anybody has the right to acquire immovable property. Take notice of that. You and I, be you a Yoruba, be you an Hausa, be you an Igbo, you have the right to acquire immovable property anywhere in Nigeria. That is the first thing. And the second thing is that which comes under Section 44 of the 19th Constitution is that everybody has right to own interest in immovable property. You have the right to own interest in an immovable property. We're trying to explain the right to acquire and the right to own interest. I will be taking you to a law class, which will make this lecture to be somehow boring. But let me just give you a paraphrase of what I'm actually talking about. It means that you have the right to use that thing that you acquire anywhere in Nigeria, as law has given you the right at the first instance. And nobody is given the right to remove that property from your caring, from your possession. Nobody has the right to grab that land that you buy anywhere in Nigeria from you. Nobody has the right to alienate it from you. You are the only one that has the right to maybe to transfer the ownership to another person or to give it to another person. You have the right to start enjoying immediately after you've done all the required processes that is required of you by the law to do over a property that you are trying to acquire at any particular moment in time. This is what Section 43 and Section 44 of the 19th Constitution is actually talking about. So, if you are not talking about these rights that we're talking about now, there are some circumstances when the government will have to come to you and collect that property from you. If it is a land, be it a building, be it a premises, be it anywhere. Because of what? Because of the overriding convenience of the public. If the government wants to use your land, maybe what government wants to build an hospital, government wants to build a center, government wants to construct road, and your land has to be affected, or your building has to be affected. They have to destroy your building for that thing to be effectively built in that area at that particular moment in time. The government has the right to do this, but because you have the right to own your property and you have the right to own interest in that property, the government must give you a kind of compensation. The government will compensate you for that property that they are trying to take away from you at that particular moment in time. They must give you compensation. You must be compensated. They must just not come and take the property away from you and and chase you out of the property and leave you stranded on the street. No, you have to be compensated, and this is one of the essence of how the law protects you as a landlord. Sometimes they may say that they discover crude oil on someone's land, and once they discover crude oil on your land, that land is no more useful to you, because that is what they'll be using land for. You won't be able to use it to build a building. You want to construct a building. You won't be able to use it to cultivate plants. You won't be able to use it to rear anything. You won't even be able to live on that land. You won't be able to stay on that land, because those people that will bring all the equipment that we bring on that land would have occupied the land, and you won't even be able to enter into the site when they are doing what they are doing at that particular moment in time. So the land will not be useful to you again. So for that reason, you must be paid a kind of compensation. You must be paid a kind of compensation. So now this is one of the ways by which the law protects you as a landlord in Nigeria. Other ways by which law is protecting you is that the law is protecting you against squatters. We're talking about squatters. Who are the squatters under the law? Under the law, in the eyes of the law, who is a squatter? We all have a misconception of who a squatter is. Generally, we all think that if, for example, my brother is living in Lagos, I have moved to him, is the one I'm living with in Lagos. I am a squatter in his house because I'm living with him. He was the one who rent the apartment. I'm just living with him. I'm a squatter in his. No, I'm not a squatter. Or maybe my friend rents an apartment, I move in with my friend, I'm living with my friend. Because I'm living with my friend, I'm not the one who pays for the apartment. I'm a squatter in my friend's apartment. No, I'm not a squatter in the eye of the law. I'm not a squatter. I am indeed a tenant in the eyes of the law. I am. You don't forget last week that when I was explaining the meaning of a tenant under the law, I made mention that a person that enters into a premises, into an apartment, with the consent of the landlord or with the consent of the tenant, that has an agreement with the landlord. If, for example, now I have an agreement with my landlord, we both buy an agreement that I want to rent this apartment for you. I also agree. I've paid the consideration. I've paid the money. I've paid the rent. And I'll bring in my friend. I bring in my family, or I bring in anybody I like. Those people that I bring into that house, they are also tenants in that house, and they must be enjoying the right that I will also be enjoying that right along with them, with me. We both be enjoying the same right. But now, who is a squatter? A squatter is a person who just see a building without the consent of the landlord, without the consent of anybody, just parking into that building and start living on it. That is a squatter. Let's say, for instance, now you see a fertile land, and you see that this land is fertile. If I use this land to plant cocoa, it will yield. And since 20 years ago, I've been walking past this way. I've never seen anybody on the land, and you go to that land, you start planting on it. You are a squatter on the land, on that land. You are a squatter. Yes. Or you see a building, maybe a completed building or even an uncompleted building, you start living in that building without the consent of the landlord. You are a squatter in that building. You are a squatter. What makes you a squatter is that you do not have the consent of the person who owns the property before you move in or move on to that property and start using it for your own purpose at that particular moment. So you are a squatter on that property. So the law is protecting the landlord against the squatter, in the sense that if the landlord has the notice that a person is now on his land using it for his own purpose, or a person is now in your building, in his building, using it against the wish of the landlord, at any moment in time, the landlord may go there and eject the person out of that property. And even if the landlord eject the person, the squatter, out of that property, that squatter will have no right of action, will have no remedy in law. Even if it is in the midnight, the landlord can pack the person, he can send him packing out of the land. Even if it is in the midnight, without any care. This is the position of the law. I'm talking about law here. I'm not talking about morality. If you have to be talking about morality, you can say, well, since it is in the midnight, you can just allow him to pack his load out of the house in the morning. Yes, that is in the house of morality, but that does not have any way in law. The moment you know that a squatter is in your house or a squatter is on your land, you may eject him at any moment in time without even giving the person a notice under the law. No, so if it is in the midnight, just send him away. The law will not do anything harmful to you. The law will not even question you doing such a thing. This is what the law is saying. This is a second of how the law is protecting the right of a landlord or a landowner over his land or over his building. The third of this thing that I have prepared to discuss here with you today is that the law is protecting the landlord against the trespasser. I've made mention of a squatter. Now I'm talking about a trespasser. Will you not then ask me, is a squatter not also a trespasser? Well, according to some laws, according to some circumstances, according to some situations, we may say a squatter might be a trespasser, but do not bury me when I'm still alive. Let me firstly explain what I've prepared to explain here to you with authority here today. So, under the law, there are three specific ways by which we can explain who a trespasser is. If you're talking about trespasser under the law of landlord and tenancy, it's different from the ones under that of criminal law, and also different from that one under that of civil law. We're talking about a trespasser under the relationship between the landlord and the tenant, as the landlord and tenancy law is regulating the conduct. We're talking about a person who comes into your house, or onto your land, using it without your consent. He's not the owner of the house, but he comes onto the house using it without your consent. He comes onto your land using it without your consent. He's also now claiming right, that he has the right over that land. That is a trespasser under the confinement of what? The law that regulates landlord and tenancy. That is the first definition of a trespasser. And another perspective to look at the trespasser is that of a person that enters into a premises to commit a crime. He's a trespasser. If he enters the premises to commit it with the intent to commit a crime, or enter the premises to even commit a crime, he's a trespasser under the criminal law. Or the person enter into the premises unlawfully without the consent of the owner of the premises is a trespasser. Even under the criminal law, is a trespasser. And also, maybe he brings something onto the land of the owner of a premises, is a trespasser. Or even he is on the land, is in the building, and the owner of that land has told him, get out of my house, or leave here, I don't want to see you again, and he still remain on that land, is a trespasser. And the implication under the criminal law is that the person can sue the person, that trespasser, into the court of law and get conviction. And the implication of that is that the person might even be sent to jail or even be ordered to pay fine. So please take notice of this. If you are in a person's house and the person tell you get out of my sight or get out of my house, just waka out of that building jejely without any problem. Because if you stay there, if you spend unreasonable time there after the owner of that house has ordered you to leave the premises and that particular matter, you will see legal trouble. You may do jail, honestly, you may do jail. This has been established in plethora of cases that happened in the past. There was a case where a person went to a building of another person to seek to recover debt, and they were talking. He says, "Oh, please, Mr. Man, get out of my house. Come back another time." And the person still remains there. Okay, you have to hear back. Okay, don't worry. You go see. I go show you Pepe, and he showed him Pepe. He sued him into court, and the court gave judgment against the trespasser, and he was ordered to pay compensation to the house owner. Because of what? Because he refused to leave the house after the house owner has ordered him to leave the house. So if you still remain in the house when the house owner has ordered you to leave that house, you are a trespasser. That is the implication of under the criminal law. But under the civil law, you won't be sentenced to jail time. You won't be ordered to pay fine. But what? You will be ordered to pay lump sum of compensation. We can also say that what is the meaning what is the meaning within the confinement of the criminal law for trespass is also the meaning of trespass under the civil law. There are just the slight difference between them is just that the person under the criminal law might be sentenced to imprisonment or even ordered to pay fine, but under that of civil law, you will just be ordered to pay compensation. Even though if you trespass into a building, especially a person like me, I may sue you in the criminal court and also in the civil court. I will send you to jail. I will also send you to go and pay me a kind of lump sum of compensation. So when you are serving jail, you will still be paying debt, the judgment debt. You will still be a judgment debtor. So please, we must take notice of this, and we must make sure that we use it to our own benefit. We must know all these things so that we may always know our right and know how to enjoy this right that the Lord has given to us at any particular moment in time. So now, the thing that I will now add to this thing is that if a landlord has transferred the possession of his house to a tenant, a person has come to rent that apartment from you, you do not have the right under that of civil law or under that of criminal law to institute a trespassing proceeding against a person that entered that building without your consent again, because you are not in the possession. Only a person that is in the possession of a property has the locus standi, the right of action, the opportunity, the privilege to sue another person for the offense of trespass, not the person who owns the land or who owns the house. Every time, if you have rented that apartment to another person, you don't have that right anymore. It is the person that is on that right or that land that has the right to do what? To do whatever with the person that trespassed into that building at a particular moment in time. So this is the third thing. And the fourth thing that I prepared to explain here for you here today is that the law has also protected you as a landlord against all those people that may want to commit criminal activity with your property. For example, now, the Lord has forbidden it. Nobody is allowed to put your house on fire. If a person puts your house on fire, according to the Criminal Code Act, the person will be sentenced to life imprisonment for putting another person's house on fire. And another thing is that the law has also protected you against burglary. So some of our criminal laws, some of the law that administer the criminal justice in Nigeria are that if a person commits the offense of burglary, according to some circumstances, according to some extent, there are some specific and appropriate penalty that has been prescribed for such a person at a particular moment in time. So these are how the law are protecting you as a landlord. I've talked about how nobody can take that property away from you unless if it is the government, unless the government will have to pay you compensation. Another one is that against a squatter. If a squatter comes to your house, you have the right to eject that squatter out of that house at any particular moment in time. And at the same time, you have the right against a trespasser to do what? To issue an action against that trespasser and get compensation at the end of the day. And the third one is that the law has protect you against all other criminal activities that will be done with your property. Before I end this program for today, let me see if I've had a question or two, so that I will do justification on those questions and give answer to them before I end this program. But before I do so, I will have to inform you that Ajisebi Oyo Radio is trying to organize a kind of digital skill acquisition in some days to come. They are trying to organize they are trying to organize digital skill acquisition in days to come. But before then, if you want to learn anything about video editing with Adobe Premiere Pro, come to me directly, or you can even go onto website that is showing now on your screen now. You can go to seller.co using this website to make your offer, to buy the course online, or even you can text me or call me directly. I'm always open for business. Even though I'm a busy man, I'm always busy, but if it is business, I will give you money. I'm always available. So you can come to me and chat me maybe on WhatsApp, or call me, or text me a text message. I will be available to answer your questions. And that is the first thing. That is the first thing, and that is the first of the thing. And the second thing is that the second